This week, trade wars reheated, alliances reshuffled, and somewhere in the Indian Ocean someone thought Tuesday was a great day for a coup. Welcome to This Week in Chaos, the global recap show where we try to make sense of world leaders playing Risk, but with actual countries. First up, the US and China reignited their favorite long-distance relationship, the trade war. Beijing tightened export controls on rare earths, basically saying, "Nice iPhone you've got there, shame if it stopped working." Because when Beijing sneezes, the global supply chain catches a decade-long cold. Washington hit back with tariff threats, as usual. The WTO said this could shave off 7% of global GDP long-term, which, to economists, is like losing an arm and calling it a paper cut. Beijing's move wasn't random, it's leverage. If you own the ingredients, you own the recipe. And while the world panicked, India quietly went shopping, cozying up to Russia and others to secure its own mineral lifeline. Because in 2025, the new arms race isn't for weapons, it's for the stuff inside them. Speaking of India, it's trying to stay friends with everyone, and enemies with no one. This week Delhi revived trade talks with Washington while still buying Russian oil like it's on Diwali discount. The US said, "We'd really prefer if you didn't." India said, "We'd really prefer electricity." Strategic ambiguity is back in fashion, and Delhi is wearing it better than anyone. Meanwhile, Pakistan launched airstrikes in Kabul targeting the TTP. The Taliban responded, because, mutual restraint isn't really their thing. Both sides claimed self-defense, civilians suffered, and regional peace took another sabbatical. Once again, South Asia is reminded that borders drawn in 1893 still make terrible neighbors. And now, our flashpoint of the week, Madagascar, where youth protests over unemployment and electricity turned into a full-blown military power shift. The president fled, soldiers joined the movement, and Colonel Michael Randrianarina took charge, promising a 2-year transition. The African Union suspended them instantly, the UN frowned, and locals half celebrated, half braced. It wasn't just a coup, it was a generational roar. Call it Gen Z's crash course in regime change. The twist? The youth led, the army followed. That's not a coup. That's democracy speed-running itself. Time for the Empire Tracker, our weekly scoreboard of how the big players performed in the grand theater of geopolitics. The US spent the week reacting, tariffs here, statements there, and diplomacy that feels more like damage control than direction. Treasury Secretary Bessent tried cooling things down with Beijing, but America's strategy still looks like it was written on a post-it during a lunch break. It's got alliances, money, and military reach, everything except an actual plan. Until Washington stops mistaking press conferences for policy, it's staying at a solid C+, credit for effort, points deducted for multitasking its way into chaos. China flexed this week, locking down rare earth exports and reminding everyone it owns the ingredients to modern civilization. It's not diplomacy, it's resource blackmail with better branding. Sure, the move worked, the world panicked, but push it too far, and you'll teach your rivals how to build a plan B. For now, Beijing's holding the conductor's baton, though the orchestra's starting to eye the exits. Still, a confident B+, sharp game, minor deduction for overconfidence. India once again perfected the art of standing in the middle and looking wise. It bought Russian oil, shook hands with Washington, and somehow offended absolutely no one. A diplomatic hat trick, Delhi's real strategy: outweigh everyone. While the US argues and China flexes, India's quietly monetizing patience. That's a calm, clean B, steady hands, zero drama, full control. Russia's still running on oil, grudges, and the leftover confidence of 1989. The sanctions sting, the ruble wheezes, but Moscow keeps smirking like the villain who already read the ending. Its empire dreams are dusty, its economy duct-taped, and its diplomacy basically a group chat full of bad Wi-Fi and worse allies. Everyone's tired of it, but no one can unplug it. Grade C, too stubborn to lose, too broke to win. So, that's the scoreboard. China's playing poker with the deck it printed, the US is reading old instructions out loud, India's meditating in the corner, and Russia's still charging rent for global heating. Next week, we'll see who moves the board, and who just tweets about it. That wraps This Week in Chaos, tariffs, protests, and power plays. Another week of adults running the world like a group project. I'm Diplab, and I'll see you next week. Same time, same chaos, new empires to track.